How in the world? I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. Back on the Jet John today. Today we take a look inside this engine, replace some parts, and finally get it mounted. So I was absolutely convinced that there was something in the bottom of this block, this grease fitting right here. It wouldn't turn past 12 o'clock going counterclockwise and then going clockwise and then going clockwise. It wouldn't go past 11 or so. But look at that. It's fine. So I tore this whole thing apart for no reason, but this gasket was pretty danky. There was some crust down in the bottom. Don't know if you can really see that too good. So it's a good thing it got torn apart. I got some gaskets ordered, so we're just gonna go ahead and put it back together. So it may turn out I'm not crazy. Watch that top piston and watch this grease fitting. Whenever I go to turn it, there's a little catch right there, and you can't, I know you're not here, but right there, it's like a break point, and you come back the other way, and you can feel it, and it takes a couple more pounds of force to get past it. Right there. And you can bring the second piston up, the back piston, and there's no catch. You can feel it whenever it goes to top dead center and goes back down, like you can feel the shift of weight, but there's no catch like there is with this front one. And I really don't know if that's concerning or not. Nothing was loose whenever I had the heads off. So what we're going to do is we're going to slap this thing back together, and we're just going to keep our fingers crossed. On second thought, maybe, just maybe, later on we'll have a video called Jet John Engine Swap. Whenever I went to tear this thing apart, I was just being a silly little goose, and I forgot that engines have timing, and if you don't mark things the right way, then you won't know what that timing is. So long story short, if I had looked instead of waiting a week to buy the timing wheel, somebody had already scribed myself a mark, but I'm going to go ahead and walk through it since we're here. So take your timing wheel and you set 360 degrees at the very bottom of the exhaust port for cylinder 1, and cylinder 1 has to be at top dead center. Alright? So we're at top dead center. My 360-degree mark's right here. That little black line. Set it at the bottom of the intake port for cylinder 1, and the timing for my motor, which is a 587, the timing is 130 degrees. So if you can't see a scribe mark that someone had already put there for me, I did a little marker spot right there. That is where my rotary valve needs to be. That's close, but that's not it. Let's flip it around. That's way far past it. So, an allowance of 5 degrees difference. So, throwing it on right there is a lot closer than whenever it was flipped 180 degrees. So I'm going to leave it right there, throw this thing back together, and I'm going to call that done. So I just want to point out, before this project started, when this motor was still in the jet ski, it ran. Not well, but it ran. And I just opened up this electrical box. Take a look. Look at that. How in the world? I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. I'm gonna try to take this out. Well, that didn't work. The fuse isn't blown, but it's melted. It's just one piece. That was the blade right there. That's a piece of the blade, and it just, I mean, it broke off like it was dry rotted. Holy crap. One sec. Other side of the blade. Try to get the rest of this one out. That is absolutely wild. I've never seen anything like that. I guess it's fine. I guess it's fine. I don't really know. The boot came off. If it snaps back on, I'm gonna send it. Well, it won't hold. Probably because I bent that back too far. Look inside there. I got some figuring out to do now. Now look at the terminals on the starter solenoid. That is garbage. So, with what we found out here, and with the knock machine over here, I care a lot less about this. So we're gonna run it. We're gonna do the best we can with it until it go no mo. So it's a new day. I've had some time to think about this, and I wonder, can anyone tell me if that knocking sound would have something to do with the magneto that's in this engine? I slept on it, and that's really the only thing that I could wonder that would make me think that that would be the only other cause I could really think of. So, anyway, we're back. We had to get a carb rebuild kit because I remembered that this would run, but it wouldn't idle very good. And I got a new ignition control module because the boots on the original one just fell off somehow during transport. So we're going to do a time lapse of carb rebuild and swapping that out for that. So if you couldn't tell in the last couple of seconds there, I had to hand clearance these out. The tab that connects to the spark plug was just too big to go through them, but if you compare it to the original gap, we're not going to worry about that. I got this thing cleaned out. It's kind of sort of the best I could do, and we're just going to see what happens whenever we get this thing and this put back in. I don't know if I mentioned, but all I did for that fuse was take it out and put a new one in, and we're just going to see what happens. Whenever the time comes, and we will figure that out when we get there. For now, I'm going to take the engine mount plate and go throw it in the boat and see what we need to do to get it to fit. We're gonna do our first engine test fit. What are you doing, you lazy bones? Lay this down right here. Alright, what we got? It appears we need some trimmage on all these bolts. Not too bad, but not good enough. So, we'll break the old angle grinder out, see if we can't get the angle grinder out, and we'll see if we can't make something happen. So I kind of did some feeling around, and it seems like these two rear bolts are what's keeping these from making contact. So I'm just going to trim these back too, see what happens. I can't lie to you, you missed out on some of the excitement. I trimmed those two bolts and it fit. So anyway, I got the front of this engine plate snugged up, and I've got a big gap on both sides. It's about equal length, distance, whatever. I've got these shims that came out of the jet ski whenever I originally disassembled it, but obviously who would number or designate those to a certain spot whenever you disassemble something? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these shims and I'm just going to stack however many I need on both sides, running under the assumption that the front doesn't need any and these motor mounts need to come up to contact that plate. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm sure there's some sort of angle from the engine to the impeller that's super critical, but it may be critical, I'm not. Be a good time to add that we're at 154 pounds of added weight to the boat, and we're at $242 since the boat was free and the ski was free. The 154 pounds is the engine and all the hardware and the fiberglass ski, and we're at $242 with all of our hardware, sealant, the ignition control module, and there's something else I'm forgetting. Regardless, all this, so far it's been pretty cheap. Well, there she sits. Got all the wiring and hoses. They're just kind of going in the directions that they need to go. Water box is way too long, so I'm gonna have to figure out something with that. I am also not super stoked that the exhaust sticking up above the gunwales. I guess I'll just have to live with that. There's really no way around that, I don't think. Either way, we got it in the boat, and it looks pretty good. In that last time lapse there, you saw me fighting with the engine mounts. Whenever I bolted the fiberglass to the hole, it spread out that V shape. So I had to fight with it. It came back in together. It wasn't off too bad, but enough for me to have to deal with it. And these shims in here kind of stacked up all the way, but you know, I don't really know a whole lot about marine engines and jet skis and all that sort of stuff. This angle in here, I know I should probably do some research on that, so I'll do what I can, take a look around. But for today, for this video, I think we're gonna pause right here.